Hi everyone. Today we will be seeing how to upgrade an existing EC2 instance running Windows 2016 or older to the latest Windows 2022 Server Edition. And this is very specific to AWS. We will see later for how to do this in Azure instance. Azure VMs, but first let's start with a simple EC2 instance upgrade in AWS. For the purposes of this video, I'm assuming that the EC2 instance is already configured and up and running. If you are not sure how to launch a new EC2 instance, attach a secondary volume to the existing EC2 instance, etc., watch my other video right here. And I'm pretty sure that there are a million other videos in YouTube right now that you can use as well. Okay, so let's start with the assumption that I'm just going to connect to an existing EC2 instance, and I'm going to take care of upgrading that instance. All right, now let's see how we can launch a new EC2 instance from scratch. Usually in a corporate environment, you will not be connecting to EC2 instance directly on the public internet, but for the purposes of this video, I'm assuming that you will be directly connecting to the EC2 instance, and we will be specifically launching a Windows Server 2016 version today. And the purpose is to so that first we will launch this using Windows 2016 server, and we will later in a separate video we will be upgrading this to Windows Server 2022 Data Center Edition. But in a corporate environment, you will not be typically you will not be able to connect to the EC2 instance directly. You will be having some sort of a jump box, or you will have to connect to a VPN, because nobody wants to expose their server directly over to the internet, and it makes sense to hide the EC2 instance behind a firewall, so that any noob with basic script can scan for the open ports, or exploit any known vulnerability, and gain access to your server. Okay, with that said, let's get started. First, you will be logging into the AWS console. In my console, I have set Mumbai as the default default location. I mean, there are several other locations that you might want to select based on whichever region is nearer to you. Typically, this is dependent on who is using your application, not where you are located in. For example, you might be located in India, but if your primary users are in the US or in the UK, you might want to select the appropriate location for your EC2 instance. Otherwise, users will see a high latency, and the best practice is to put in a load balancer, so that different regions will have its own separate instance. And for example, if you have customers in Asia and also in Australia, it doesn't make sense to serve them using the same EC2 instance. It makes sense to balance your load, having a EC2 instance running in your Asia Pacific region and one in the Australia region. Even though this might look in the Asia Pacific region, both India and Australia is covered, it makes sense to run two separate instances, one in India and one in Sydney, Australia. I mean, if it makes sense. Again, it depends on what your requirements are and how much your budget is. For example, if you are on a tight budget, there is no point in running multiple EC2 instances. Rather, you might have to launch one big monolithic instance. Maybe your users doesn't care about the latency at all. All they care about is the time it takes to process your information. Based on your requirement, you are free to choose whatever you want to do. Again, all these provisions are available. Okay, now let's launch a new EC2 instance with Windows Server 2016 OS in Mumbai region. Okay, so first I'm launching Okay, so I am selecting Microsoft Windows, and instance type, I am going to select um, you know, T2 large, because I don't want this will be very slow. T2 large might be little bit on demand price is about 10 cents. I think T2 medium should be enough since it is for demonstration purposes, but I need more vCPU. Okay, I think we will select T2 large. It is about 10 cents an hour. Yeah, it should be fine. And key pair, I'm going to select the existing key pair that I already have. And usually you don't want to allow traffic from everywhere, but I'm going to delete this server as soon as I am done recording this video. So like so it's fine. So nobody is going to try to hack into my Windows server. So I'm going to leave it as this. And what I'm going to do is, in the root volume, it is a good practice to have at least 80 gigs drive, because you will not be running just Windows, you'll be running some other software as well. So it makes sense to uh, keep a large enough drive that during your routine patching, and if you are installing certain softwares, even though you might have a separate volume where you are installing stuff, still certain files are copied to the Windows system directories and C drive program data, etc. So it's better to have 80 gigs as the starting point. I mean, it's not much when you are doing it on a scale, or if you are doing it on a corporate network, 80 gigs doesn't cost that much anyways. And I always select GP3 because the cost is almost the same on GP3 in my in my experience, offers a better performance compared to GP2. All right, and we will be adding a separate data volume later. For now, we will select um, oh, as I was saying, so we will select Windows 2016 base, blah blah blah, because the reason why I'm doing Windows 2016 is, as I was saying, we will be upgrading to 2022 later. Okay, so blah blah blah, confirm changes, T2 large, RTP from anywhere. Okay, so this thing got reset, and I'm not adding another thing. Okay, request spot instance, nope. Auto instance recovery, I don't need any of this. Okay, okay, it has I will be blurring out this IP address primarily because once I am done using this, it will be released to the pool, and somebody else might get this IP address, and I don't want somebody to DDoSing some poor soul who got this specific IP address assigned. All right. Get password. All right, wait for at least 4 minutes for trying to retrieve the auto generated password. All right. There is also a nice feature in EC2 where you can look at, actions, instance settings, monitor, get instance screenshot. Okay, so it seems to be up and running. All right, let's click connect, RTP client, download a remote desktop file. Okay, get password, upload private key file. Oh, it needs to be in PEM format. Okay, it's fine. Let me just open the file. Right, key conversion, export, open SSH. Yes. All right. This is the password. Connect to the EC2 instance. Says that okay, don't ask me again. Connect, and again it's prompting me for password. All right, remember. Okay, so it seems to be fine. Yeah, it takes a while for it to set the password. I have seen this before. Let's just wait. If needed, we can reset the password. Monitor and template. Get instance screenshot. Yeah, it seems to be fine. Hmm, hmm, hmm. Yeah, it seems to be exactly same. All right, I figured out what I was doing wrong. So basically, I was using my local PC name slash administrator, and that was the issue. So instead, what we will be doing is we will be connecting using instance name slash this thing. Okay, so AWS, there you go. Copying public DNS, more choices, use a different account, data, and then copy this thing. All right, so now we are connected. I mean, I was already recording for a while before I realized that my mic was off. So I am recording this once again. Okay, so so what I have done is I have downloaded some software. Again, you don't have to do this, but I'm assuming that if you are following this tutorial, you want to see how to upgrade, do an in-place upgrade on an existing EC2 instance. So it is really important to have some software. Otherwise, if I upgrade a blank instance, it will be as good as launching a fresh instance anyway, so it wouldn't be of much use. All right, so let's install some software. Start with Notepad++. The reason why I'm not downloading it directly on the EC2 instance is Windows Server 2016 and these older versions, even 2019, ships only with Internet Explorer, and to get it to whitelist things and getting it up and running is a big pain. I mean, it's not impossible. It is just additional steps. But if you already have a decent internet, you can download it on your local computer and then copy to the EC2 instance, because a remote desktop protocol of Microsoft Windows supports, copy paste files. If it's a large installer, then it is recommended that you download it directly on the EC2 instance rather than copy pasting it. It doesn't make sense, but it is just few megabytes, all these softwares that I am installing right now. So I'm installing Firefox, Notepad plus plus, and this thing. And for a good measure, let's install LibreOffice as well, because we have to. All right, LibreOffice 2.7.6 down. Oh shoot. All right, let it download, because we want to ensure that at least this instance has some software that we can validate once it is done, to see if all those softwares and settings got migrated properly. So we will be creating some test files as well. So what we can do is, this is a, oh, what did I click? Let me save it in the documents. It's also just for good measure. Let's install OpenJDK, Corretto. Right, so now we have installed. uh, Seriously, this is still in progress. Yeah, that's the one of the disadvantages of having only two vCPUs. If we had selected an instance type with a large amount of vCPUs, it would have been better, but it is what it is. So let's wait. Finish. We try on the Corretto install. Right, let's create a couple of Libre. Okay, so we have created a couple of data files. I mean, these are dummy anyway, so let's delete all the installers. We don't care about this. Now we have successfully launched the EC2 instance. We have connected to it as well. And as I was saying earlier, like, so I'll be deleting this instance, so don't bother with that attempting to connect to this public IP and whatnot. Right. See you in the next video. Thanks. Now that we have launched the EC2 instance and we are able to connect to it, now we have to attach the Windows installation media for the OS that you are going to upgrade to. So for that, let's go to EBS, the EC2 Instance Management, and in this EBS, click Snapshots, and you should get all this. In this, search for the specific Windows version that you want. So I want Windows 2022 and English. Alright, so I'll select this and I get only one. So I select this, and then you have to go to Actions, create volume from snapshot. So what it does is it creates a separate EBS volume with the specific install media that you have selected, and you can attach this media to your Windows 2016 instance and bring that online and then run an in-place upgrade command from the command line. All right. So I'm just keeping everything as same because it really doesn't matter. All right. So I have a volume that I have created. If I go to EBS volumes, so these are mine. Let's say Windows 2022 install media. All right. Now, if I go to my volumes, the new volume that I had created is available. One thing that I missed to mention is make sure that the availability zone that you are selecting for the new EBS volume, it is same as the instances availability zone. For example, in the previous section, I have accidentally selected AP South 1A. Unfortunately, that will not be available to attach on the Windows volume. So now I'm just going to attach the volume to my Windows instance. Device name, it really doesn't matter. All right, so now this is available. Now let me go back to my EC2 instance. If I go to disk management, it will show up as offline. So simply bring it online and you should see the Windows installation media right here. Now you can run the upgrade using a command line argument. We will see that, like, first launch a command prompt as an administrator. Okay, now that we have opened the elevated command prompt, we are going to be following this specific tutorial that we have from Microsoft. So we will be using this one. So upgrade and conversion options. So if you go here, it tells you to run this command line. So I'm just going to so where am I going to do? D drive. I mean, we can also follow it on GUI, but if you have to do this on multiple servers, it will be better to do it using command line. So for the first upgrade, let's forget about the command prompt. Let's do it using the GUI. Start Windows Server. Doing it manually, it really doesn't matter because for a brief amount of time, you will not be able to RDP into the server anyways when the upgrade is running. So you can use that view instance screenshot feature of AWS console. So we have to select data center, otherwise it won't work correctly, and you have to select the one with desktop experience. By default, this it will select the data center core edition that doesn't have GUI. Yeah, I accept. Keep files, settings, apps. So our test will be successful if we have these two files in the documents, and we should have LibreOffice, Corretto, and Notepad++ and 7-zip. Yeah, okay, all these software should be present after the upgrade. And let's see, uh, it might internally restart several times before becoming available. So don't panic if you are not able to connect to the EC2 instance for a few minutes, so it is doing its thing behind the scenes. So don't get too much worried. Use that instance screenshot feature because if you don't see any progress for even after a couple of hours, then there is certainly something wrong. You might have to restore it from our previous AMI and start over the process once again. Sometimes what happens is, your Windows might be out of date, so you might have to apply the latest Windows updates, reboot the instance, run the necessary cleanups, and then do the upgrade. It should go through. Unless you are installing a non-standard software that has replaced some core Windows files, it should be fine. If you are not having any of the let's say that let's consider a scenario. You have a large amount of EC2 instances that are running where the server images are same, but your data volume is going to be different. In that case, you can simply swap out the your root volume, which is the OS drive, and quickly do this if you don't want to spend a lot of time upgrading the OS. So okay, but if you are having only one or two instances that you have to do, you can do it from a GUI or from the command line using the Microsoft help that I had just shown you. All right, let it run. Yep, we should have minimum of 10 gigs free space. One thing that I don't like the way that AWS does, but it is kind of solved in uh, Azure, is that the page files and other operating system files are stored in a separate temporary drive in Azure, whereas in AWS it dumps everything in C drive. So it becomes challenging, especially when you are running a large instance. All right, install. As it says, it will restart the server several times. So let's wait. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead. Obviously, I just wanted to show the process. So I'm going to resume once it is done. Okay, now it is restarting. It will take a few minutes. So let's go to the EC2 instances and let's look at the instance actions, monitor and troubleshoot, get instance screenshot. All right. Okay. Again, you don't have to do this. I'm just not very patient waiting for the instance to come up. It might take several minutes or sometimes hours to do it, depending on number of software that you already have installed. And if your Windows server has certain roles added, it might even take longer. But let's see how much time it takes. Unknown error. Did it restart? No screenshot available. Yeah, it will restart multiple times actually. So go to EC2 instances once again. All right, looks like it is restarting once again. As long as you get that Control Alt Delete to login screen, you should be good. Let's see. Okay, it's doing something. Yeah, CPU utilization is ah, it's doing this thing again. All right, I'm going to skip ahead depending on number of software that you already have installed. And if all right, looks like it is finally up. Let's connect to it once again. Oh, I had already saved it here. Okay, can I the password? Okay, as I had mentioned previously in the video, there are two criteria that we are going to use to determine whether the upgrade was successful or not. A, the EC2 instance should have LibreOffice, Firefox, and all the custom tools that we had installed, along with the my documents. Like, we have created two test files. So you can see, yep, we still have that text file. Let's edit with notepad++. Yep, notepad++ is still there. Running the winware command. Yep, so we have successfully converted our Windows Server 2016 to Windows Server 2022. All right, so again, I wanted to make a quick video to demonstrate that you had to jump through some additional hoops in order to upgrade EC2 instances to Windows Server 2022. So unlike the other cloud image softwares where you can simply open AWS console and upgrade it from the either AWS command line or whatever other approach using REST API or whatever, right? That you might be familiar with. This is multi-step process, but it is again straightforward. This is how you would normally do it, even if it is hosted on premises as well. All right. Thanks for watching the video. See you next time. Thank you.